Aloha and good morning. My name is Haylin Chalk from Kauai Invasive Species Committee. Thank you for joining us for another year of virtual huakaʻi for Hawaiʻ Invasive Species Month. Today we're up in Kokeʻe State Park where we're going to be talking to our partners at KRCP, Kauai DOFAW, as well as the Kauai Forest Birds Recovery Project. Let's go ahead and find them.
My name is Matthew Derry. I'm from Kailua, Oahu, and I work for the Kokeʻe Resources Conservation Program.
Makai. I was born and raised here on Kauaʻi, and I work for Kokeʻe Resource Conservation.
The Kokeʻe Resource Conservation Program mostly focuses on invasive weed removal in native forests, whether it be through community outreach or, with the field crew boots on the ground. That's our main goal. A lot of the projects and goals that we're working on at KRCP are to remove a lot of the invasive weeds from our native forests. We mostly do this through contracts from the NRCS. We work a lot with NARS and DOFAW, mostly the Forestry Division. And we have projects all throughout Kokeʻe. We regularly scout areas looking for primarily native forests. And when we find a primarily native forest that we think is worth working in, we propose for grants to work in these areas. This site that we're at right now, it started far before I started working at KRCP. A lot of the work here was actually done by the founder of our program, Katie Castle. She laid down a lot of the groundwork. If you kind of look around, you'll see a lot of skeletons of dead guava. There's a lot of patches of dead ginger clumps, and she removed the majority of the weeds with her crew.
The site we're at right now is called Kaluapuhi, and I guess the phase we're in is we're pretty much done here. This site was actually worked on a couple years ago, and then maybe 2-3 months ago we came out here, did retreatments, so whatever babies that were popping up, we're pulling them, treating them.
Our work positively impacts the forest because we're promoting healthy watersheds that have a canopy, sub-canopy, and an understory. And when we have these three components in a native forest, that's when we get the most percolation of water down into our aquifer. The leaves of the ohia tend to draw moisture out of the clouds. From there, it hits down onto these nice moist patches of moss. From there, it hits the ground and it slowly makes its way into our aquifers.
I think the most rewarding part, besides being able to fly to cool places on Kauaʻi that not too many people get to go to, is the fact that I'm Hawaiian. I was born and raised here on Kauaʻi. The fact that I can come out here, put my hands in the dirt, do something, and give back to, I guess, the Aina that raised me is probably the most rewarding thing.
The most rewarding part of my job is getting to go to a forest that is primarily native, and I get to see it healthily function. And then I get to go to areas where we have mixed native, mixed invasive, and I get to try my best and do my part to make it and preserve the forest how it once was.
Our community can get involved with KRCP by contacting us through either our Facebook, which is Kokeʻe Resource Conservation Program, our Instagram, which is KRCP. We have a website, www.krcp.org, and then our email is kokeʻeresource@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Callie Harshman. I work with the Kauai Division of Forestry and Wildlife under the Department of Land and Natural Resources, and I'm a watershed field technician.
My name is Kyle Kagimoto, and I work for the Division of Forestry and Wildlife and the Kauai Forestry Program. I am an invasive species field tech, so my main focuses are on killing weeds, So some of the worst weeds are kahili ginger, strawberry guava, Australian tree fern, blackberry. Unfortunately, the list goes on and on here on Kauai. But I also get to do a lot of different things. So that's what's fun about the job, is every day is different.
The mission of the Division of Forestry and Wildlife, in particular the forestry part of that division, is to monitor and manage 86,000 acres of forest reserve land on Kauai.
Yeah, some of our main projects are, one, just trying to care for the native species, so plants and animals, some weed control. We also work a lot with rapid ohia death, the fungus that's killing a lot of our very important native ohia trees. We do wildland firefighting. We also try to take care of places for the public to enjoy, such as Loop Road, Sugi Grove, a lot of our favorite campsites and picnic areas. And we do a little bit of community outreach. So we work with some school groups and bring the kids out into the forest.
So our crew is out here. We come to this area to control some of the invasives that are encroaching into the native forest, particularly ginger. It's a imminent threat to a lot of the pristine areas. You can see it hiking on the Alakai boardwalk. If it wasn't controlled, it might take over the entire forest. So it's really important that people are on the ground and putting in as much effort as they possibly can to control the spread.
So our organization's work positively impacts the island by taking care of our native forest. So, I grew up here and never really knew what a native species was. Like most people here, I thought that the plumerias and, the bird of paradise were native to the island. It's not until I went off to college that I finally learned what a native species are and really realized just how incredible Kauai is for our native species. We have so many species here that are found just in these islands and nowhere else in the world. And unfortunately though, a lot of them are becoming more and more rare. Many have gone extinct. And so a big part of our work is to try to protect these species. We have programs that are focused just on the rarest of the rare plants, birds, and insects, but also the watershed in general. The native forest, which, the Alakai Plateau and Koke'e have some of the best native forests in all of the islands. That forest is really important for watershed. When you think of that forest, you can picture mosses and ferns and all these different layers. You can picture the canopies with birds in them. And that forest, besides housing all these rare plants and animals, also is super important for catching water. It's not just from the rain, but when the clouds roll through, all of those leaves and mosses and ferns are collecting that moisture from the clouds, and then that moisture slowly percolates down into the ground and over time becomes our springs and our streams and our rivers and the stuff that we're able to drink to grow our crops with.
Okay, so the most rewarding part of my work is being able to be outside every day and what that does for my personal well-being. Being able to put a hard day's work and sweat out in the forest and then see that my work is having impacts on preserving this amazing place. I go home feeling great every single day.
The most rewarding part of my job, there's a lot of different things I could list. The people that I get to work with, it's always fun being out in all these beautiful places with people who care about the environment, who care about what they do, and they're able to live their passions. So that's a huge part of it. But another part too is that I recently became a dad, and so just thinking about my daughter and taking care of these places so that she can hopefully enjoy some of the same things that I've gotten to see growing up, that's a big part of my motivation. Yeah, so we would love to get the community involved. There's several different ways. We do host some volunteer events. It's a little bit toned down now with COVID, but we do have work days, some at Loop Road, We also have work days where we do outplantings at various forest reserves throughout the island. That's will be posted on our Facebook page, DOFAW Kauai, Facebook and Instagram. There's also rapid ohia death. If you guys spot any trees that you think have symptoms, please feel free to contact us or KISC, our partners we work with on ROD. And other ways that I would say people should get involved are just to learn about the native forests, learn about the native plants and animals, and plant those plants in their yard. Really the only way that these plants and these ecosystems are gonna prosper into the future is if they're not just up in the mountains, you know, they're also down in people's yards, and we're able to spread them throughout the island.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ali Cabrera. I work for Kauai Forest Bird Recovery Project. So at Kauai Forest Bird Recovery Project, our mission is to pretty much save the forest birds that are left. Once upon a time, there was over 150 different species of forest birds in Hawaii, and we are down to 8. So we are working tirelessly to help the populations of these critically endangered birds. Some of the projects and goals that we are working on with forest birds is, first of all, mosquito control. So that's my main project, and I'll tell you more about that in a bit. We are also doing a lot of predator control. So we have lots of rat traps set out to help with that, and also just sort of keeping track of the forest birds. So we do a lot of banding and reciting so that we can keep track of who's out there and what the numbers are looking like. So one of our work sites is on Camp 10 Road. This is a dirt four-wheel drive road in Kauai that the public does have access to. There's a lot of hunting trails and stuff back there. So this road is very susceptible to large ruts being formed just because people have big trucks going down there and it rains a lot on Kauai. So these ruts form some pretty ideal habitat for mosquito larvae. So we have been working a lot with DOFAW to fill in those ruts so that the mosquitoes don't have that place to lay their eggs anymore. So the work that we do with forest birds, I feel, is very impactful because we are working with animals that are ingrained in the culture and history of the Hawaiian people. And so I take a lot of pride in what we do because these birds are, a lot of them are endemic to Kauai, so you're not going to find them anywhere else on the planet. And I feel that they're so special, and the community definitely recognizes that. So the impact that Kauai Forest Birds has on the community is really sort of manifests in a variety of ways. You know, just the fact that we're up in these really remote areas, keeping track of populations of birds, and then with the project that I'm working on with mosquitoes, you know, by getting rid of this invasive species, the mosquito, we will not only help the forest birds, but every mammal. I mean, nobody wants these mosquitoes around anyways. And so sort of when we are able to, you know, help one species, I feel that has an effect on everything around it and in the ecosystem. I would say the most rewarding part of my job is just that I get to do something that makes me feel proud. And I really feel that my work is going towards something that I believe in and that I know is going to have a positive impact on the Aina, the community, on, let me rephrase that. So my favorite part of this job is being able to not only do work that I feel is fulfilling and it has a very important role on this island, but also that I get to visit these beautiful remote places on Kauai that so many people have never seen before. So I feel very special and honored to kind of fill this position. Excellent. All right, Kauai Forest Bird Recovery Project would love some volunteer help. I personally am trying to get my dunk squad together. So what this involves is going out into Kauai, looking for any sort of larval habitat, seeing if there is larva in there and treating it with a super safe larvicide. And so if you have ever been into Kokeʻe or the Alakai Swamp, you might have noticed there's a lot of standing water there. So this is a monumental task and I need a lot of help. So if you would like to come, and I'll give you a ride up to Kokeʻe and we'll go look for some mosquito habitat, that would be very So if you're interested in volunteering with Kauai Forest Birds, I would suggest shooting us an email to info@kauaiforestbirds.org. You could also check us out Facebook, and we have a nice website with contact information on there. As of right now, we're not in the office too much, so I just want to deter you from calling. Email would be best.